And as you can see, the community in Santa Fe is devastated. Experts from all over the world are on their way now to help victims deal with the emotion.
So joining us today is Greg Young, a man who has flown all over the country to console communities in similar tragedies like the one we're seeing now in Texas. So what are local officials working on right now in Texas when you think about the chaos and all of the emotions that are running so high right now?
Well, hello, Shannon and Charles. One of the things that people are looking to do is first and foremost, they're doing some immediate psychological first aid, some one-on-one kinds of things. And as the news clips have come out, one of the things they've talked about doing is bringing in state and even federal resources. So I know the FBI is involved in this particular case, so they have trained personnel who do crisis response as well as chaplains, as well as they try to use local resources first. Just to provide psychological first aid. There will be psychological debriefings, diffusings, small group kinds of things, and also things for families, but also for the first responders, because I remember seeing the news clip earlier this afternoon where a physician was standing there and giving a briefing, and he started to choke up because he has a 16-year-old child. And, you know, so whenever it's kids, it's always the worst.
And it is. And we just saw that young woman crying, and that you can understand the emotion and how she's been traumatized by this shooting. Greg, you've been at these scenes, the 24 hours, first 24 hours, very difficult. But what happens a week later? What happens a month later? I'm sure the needs are still there for the students and the families.
Absolutely. The needs are long going. I responded to, as a part of a long range kind of a follow-up to Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. I spoke at this what was the Symposium for Hope, Resilience, and Recovery following Sandy Hook, and that was a couple of months later. And what we did then the second day was, it was a media event the first day, and the second day was actually to provide debriefings to first responders. So there's going to be a prolonged response because sometimes, you know, the impact of the critical incident stress, trauma of something like this has a lasting impact, and sometimes people are fine, at least initially, but then something's triggered and they need to help. So there will be resources available. They will be developing what we call a strategic plan psychologically to help people deal with that.
Greg, you spoke about how the first responders will need some time to heal from this, but you also being a chaplain, how do you decompress? How does that community decompress after receiving all of that emotion and anguish?
I get asked this question, Shannon, quite frequently, and I'm getting better at it. I talk to other people who do similar things to what I do, because, in fact, I just spoke at a 911 dispatchers conference at the Kalahari in the Dells, and one of the things I was talking to them and saying, who do you go to? And so we all need those people who, you know, who are secondarily or vicariously traumatized by these incidents. And you know, certain things you need to do to take care of yourself. Have a support system. Exercise. For me, I know, Charles, you like to exercise too.
Yeah, it's having that network of support, of friends and family, and in case for some people, faith. And so, Greg, we appreciate your sharing your story, and we appreciate what you do. Thank you for being here.
And thank you for what you do.